Food bank use has increased by 52% in the 12 months after the universal credit rollout, compared to the previous year, says the Trussell Trust. Families are turning to food banks and charities to provide a safety net in the form of nutritious food and a hot meal. Meanwhile, the UK is the worst in the EU for wasting food, with over 12 million tonnes being wasted per year. Surely now is the time to be questioning our culture of food. France has brought in laws to assure supermarket food waste is redistributed. Should we be doing the same? I spoke to Eleanor Cobb, children and families worker at Chomp, a charity which provides hot meals to children and families during the school holidays. Chomp relies on volunteers and redistributors' surplus food to be able to feed those living in poverty.
Certainly we're hearing that, in local food banks the demand has increased rapidly, and those people, we're having more people come through to us who said, we've been to the food bank this week, or we've heard about you, through our accessing the food bank, and they've referred us on. So yeah, it's having a huge impact, and I think universal credit has really meant for some people, that whole not knowing how much income they've got from one week to the next and having to wait that long period before they get any funding at all, any money at all, can be hugely difficult. It might be the whole of the school holidays whilst they're waiting for some money to come in. So, we're plugging a gap as best we can. But for us, it is just really a sticking plaster. We are just we're just one organisation in this, massive food poverty area, so we're trying to do the best we can, but it's really not a long-term solution at all. I mean, for most of our families, we see them come week in, week out, and sometimes for a number of years. So whilst we're doing the best we can, it isn't a long-term solution. We're providing one hot meal a day for a family, but we can't do it single-handedly. So the government clearly need to be looking at the problem more thoroughly than they have been.
Like Chomp, the community fridge relies on food from FareShare. The community fridge at the Phoenix Centre uses surplus food from cafes provided by FareShare to allow those who need food to simply come and collect it. I spoke to Sean Shepherd, fridge coordinator at the Phoenix Centre.
It's not good to be wasting that amount of food. I think the organisations have a responsibility to be able to redistribute that food if it's not used. An expiry date or a use-by date doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be off. So they're the key holders in respect to being able to redistribute that food, and I think it's imperative to be able to give someone that potentially may not have the money to afford a meal the opportunity to feed themselves. Some homeless individuals come to the centre collecting meals. I have hired housing residents coming to use the fridge. Variety of individual organisations, so we have Scope Southeast Inclusion downstairs, they use the food for as well, for the group sessions. It's just about building that community spirit and being able to share the food on site, and to have a zero waste policy. Since the beginning of the project itself, we haven't had any waste, which I'm quite pleased about, because we're able to distribute that throughout that. If we ever get to a stage where we think we're not going to be able to get rid of it, it's always a case of collecting those items and being able to go and redistribute them again.
The UK has two huge issues in the form of food waste and food poverty. Each one can provide a solution to the other. The Brighton public and business owners agree that something needs to change to prevent food waste and assure the redistribution of food to the homeless and those on a low income or unemployed.
Homeless is quite a big issue at the minute, so I mean, there's a lot of best things you could do than throwing in a bin, that's for sure. So I guess reusing it food banks, that's certainly a more, a better way of doing things, really.
Junk food project, he goes to one church and other places, they're really good, like preventing food waste, but it's still just frustrating that you have to have like a charity or make a deal with a supermarket rather than they just give it away free when it's going to go off.
Especially in Brighton, where there's so many homeless people, I think it's such a shame that food goes to waste, and just smaller portions, or if a family can cook the same meal and everyone eat the same thing, so lots of different meals, things like that.
And I think a lot of kind of fruit and vegetables go to waste as well in supermarkets because they don't look a certain way or whatever. And I think that definitely should be sorted out, like sold to homeless or given to someone for a cheaper price.
To some of the homeless centres, rather than throwing it away, to me it's a pointless exercise. It's because it's still good food and it lasts well past the dates of what it displayed on the actual products.
Should the UK take the same action as France to ensure the redistribution of surplus food? Either way, we cannot let millions of tonnes of food go to waste while there are still people going without. Rebecca Whittaker, reporting from Brighton.